Hello, I'm your host, Tamara Calder Richardson, a 6-time near-death experiencer, an evidential psychic medium, a Christ channeler, as well as the host of the Seeking Heaven channel. So thanks for being here. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and watch. I have many episodes. I have 111 or so episodes. Watch the episodes as well as like and make comments because I actually do answer them. And your opinion matters to me. So, I consider you part of my soul family. So join in the conversation. And also check out my membership perks because they're very good. And I'm starting up my love leaders. And that would be, we'll meet once a month for 90 minutes to have spiritual and life coaching from me. So for you, customize. You can't beat that for $24.99, right? What a deal. So look at that. But my prices are start out for $2.99, but it does help the channel. So God bless you and thank you for helping the channel. Now for our guest today, I'm so excited. So our guest is coming straight from Mexico, and which is really unusual because they're almost the same time as Eastern Standard Time, which I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. But because, I work with people all over the world, to me, we're just one big global happy family. Today, the person that I have, and I'm going to bring them on in just a minute, is Ana Cecilia Gonázalez. Now, she is an attorney. She is a multiple near-death experiencer, as well as a multiple spiritual transformative experiencer. That's a big word. And she'll talk about that. She has really cool lucid dreams, angel communication, seeing spirit family. I want you guys to know that us near-death experiencers, that, the divine is working through us all the time. It's just paranormal and also magic and wonderful things happen to us. And she is definitely evidence of that. She is also an author, and you will be able to get her book on Amazon, and that is When Life Is Not Forever. So she is an attorney, very impressive, but she's also very spiritual. I'm going to bring Ana on, and we're going to have a blast.
Hello.
Hello. Hola.
Hi. Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
Yes. Bien. Gracias. So,
thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, absolutely. This is what 4 years of American college does. That's what we. I need to work on my Spanish. So, which you're bilingual.
Yes.
And this is when I met you. I got to tell you guys how I met Ana. Ana's awesome. Awesome. Okay. I met Ana. She was doing a speaker spotlight because I do this thing once a month. It's for the Spiritual Awakenings International, which if you haven't gone there, we're both on the advisory board. Yay.
Yeah.
And you're also part of you're the Spanish director now for the SAI when we have a conference again. But that's how I met Ana, was at the Spiritual Awakening Speaker Spotlight. And I first met you there with some others. So you can watch that. It's on there. You can see that below. And then also in June, she spoke. She had the Spanish, track.
Panel. Yeah.
Panel. Yeah. And so that's how we met. And then I don't know, we became kind of fast friends, and we WhatsApp it quite a bit.
It was amazing. Yes.
No, you're amazing. We have this mutual amazing club. But, it's interesting because I feel so connected to Ana. There's so much. And one thing, we were talking pre-show with us being near-death experiencers, that is one way we connect to the divine. But once that portal, that door is open, we have so many experiences. And, we'll do what we can today. We're going to have Ana back for a live chat, and we're going to talk some really cool stuff. You don't want to miss it. And I'm going to have some surprise guest with her. But for now, she's going to go through some of her, if you don't mind, a couple of your near-death experiences, and then we'll have some fun and go into some other things too, because you have such a spiritual life that just sharing who you are could open people's eyes to the possibility. And we're still growing, right? We're still learning.
Right. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here, Tamara. It's been a blessing to meet you and to get to know you and to feel so close to you. because that's the way I feel now, very close to you. And well, I was born with a very complex heart condition. The the prognostic and diagnosis at that time, 56 years ago, was that I was going to die very soon. There was not a way that my heart could survive. I mean, my body could survive with such a complex heart condition. So my parents knew I was probably dying soon, and the way that my life went through at the beginning was eh, unconsciously. I mean, I didn't know, but my the communication with parents changes when they know you're gonna die soon. So they don't want to get too much attached sometimes, and they because they're gonna lose you, and that's what doctors say constantly. But I remember when I was probably 7 or 8 years old, that I was just so tired of going to the doctor every time, and I just didn't understand. And I said, well, maybe I did something wrong, and I have to ask my parents, why do I have to go to the doctor so often and not my siblings? So then there is when they told me that I had a heart condition, that they didn't know how long was I gonna be okay. So I understood perfectly well that I was gonna die soon. That's why the name of my book comes from when life is not forever. What do you do and when you're 7 and you find out that you're just gonna
Wow.
go, you're gonna leave? So from then on, I just felt like I started treasuring life in a very different way, because in my heart and in my soul, I knew that life was not forever and that I had to enjoy it, and that I had. So from then, I started to feel myself different of the way I looked at life. And I was a very sensitive little girl, and I always liked to call myself like I had this communication with. Now I know it was an angel, but since I was a girl, very little one, I knew there was somebody around me all the time.
Okay.
And in my heart and in my mind at that time, I thought it was a ghost. And I said, well, since I'm going to die soon, this ghost must be coming for me. So I thought he was the death ghost. And I even named him, because I didn't know if it was a woman or if it was a man or a girl or a boy. So I called him Raffle. Raffle, because I didn't know if it was Raphael or Rafaela, like if it was a girl. So I just said Raffle. And then I knew many, many, many years later that Raffle is in Catalan, in Spain, that's a name for Raphael. I didn't know that. I was just a little girl and I named him like that. And every time I was under a lot of pain, or I've been close to death many, many times in my life. And I always knew he was there. And I spoke to him and I said, please go away. I don't want to leave yet. There's a lot of things I want to do. But then I learned that he was really taking care of me, because he's a healer. He's just somebody that took care of me. And probably one of the first experiences, Tamara, I remember I was around 9 years old, and I usually my oxygen was so low that I couldn't really play around, or I couldn't do a lot of things. So just imagine if your body gets so cold, you start freezing, and I turned all absolutely purple because there was no oxygen. I was really going through. So I love to go to my grandfather's pool, but there was no, they didn't warm it up. It was cold,
Was
cold
it
as ice.
what time of year was it?
Well, it was, I don't know, probably 1970, 1972. But the
But
thing
it
is
was
that
warm. It
this
was
what
warm.
this yeah, but this was in a ranch, but they
Mm,
didn't really warm the water. It was
mm.
always very cold. So it was a summer, but the water was very cold. So I loved to be there. I loved water. I love water. So I remember once I just got in there, and when I came out, I usually never liked to tell anybody that I was not feeling well, because I was like part of. I want to leave. I treasure life. I don't want to let anybody to worry about me. So I remember that day I went into the water, and then I came out, and I was going through a hypothermia. That's the way I call it. I was just freezing, and I was not being able to breathe, and I was so purple, hypothermia. I don't
Yes.
know what's the
Yes,
name in
correct.
English. Okay.
Yes, correct.
So I remember I just lay down in the sun in the floor, and I was just trying to warm myself up a little bit in the floor. You know, it was all around the pool, and it was so
Mhm.
hot. And my mother was not close to there. There was not really anybody really worrying about me, but I was absolutely blue. And in that moment, I think that was the first moment I just knew I had a very, very, very strange. Now I know it's a near death experience, but it was a very strange experience because I felt Rafael was there, and I remember having him close to me, and I was talking to him, and I said,
Mm,
"But you know, I don't want to die.
right.
I don't want to go yet." And then he was just so close, warming me up. He was there, and I could feel this warm, and but I was just someplace else. I was not there in the water anymore. I was just absolutely another place. And then suddenly I just came up back to my conscious mind, and I saw that family was still around, and everybody was there, and I was warmed up again, and I just didn't want to go in the water again. But that
Mm,
was the first time I knew something had happened.
okay.
So through my years, nobody really understood how was I still alive because my fingernails went all blue, and they got very strange because they call it drum fingers because they get because there's no oxygen in my hands or feet, so they started to get like a drum finger. They're very different now, but they were just purple, and everything was so strange, and doctors didn't understand how was I alive. But I
Okay.
knew there was in my mind there was something that my father said when I was sick one day, and then because they told me that the prognosis was not good, that I was not really expected to be living for much longer. Usually, children died at around 10 or 12 with my condition. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember my father saying, "Well, you know, that's what doctors prognose. I mean, the prognosis and the diagnosis. But what if God has another plan?"
That's beautiful.
And I attached so strong to that. And I said, "Yes, what if he has another plan?"
Yes.
And then something happened there, Tamara, that I started dreaming. And I started seeing myself as a young lady. And when I went 15, you know, in Mexico, when you're 15 years old, there's a dance, and it's
Yeah.
such a special
Okay.
day.
Yes, I've heard of this. It's sort of like isn't it like it's the Catholic thing, but it's Jewish people do it too, but it's like
Yeah, they did. Yes,
coming up
it's like coming
as
out.
a woman.
It's like you're a woman now.
Mm,
So for me, it was like I want to get to my 15-year-old. I want to have this dress, and I started dreaming with me studying. I wanted to study. I saw myself working and being a very successful businesswoman, and then I saw myself getting married and having children. But this was all in my mind.
mm.
When I was 15 years old exactly, I got there, and I just thought I was never gonna have a boyfriend because who would like me with his fingernails, and I was all purple. Usually I was purple because of the lack of oxygen. And you know, I had many boyfriends. It was not just one. But
Well, one came through pre-show, so yeah, I won't testify.
yes,
She had a lot of boyfriends.
yes, I did. But I just thought that that was something because you know, doctors and parents sometimes give you so much more information that they think they give, and they are giving you information that, well, you're going to die, so let's do this. And I knew, and I could get that information. But I remember when I was 15, I was very sick. I went to Houston, Texas, because nobody in Mexico knew how to treat me because it was so unusual to be alive at that age with my condition. So I went there, and then doctors saw I had a boyfriend because he went to visit.
Mhm.
And then they talked to me, and they said to me, "Well, you know, you're very sick." And I said, "Well, I know I have a heart condition. I don't feel myself sick. I just know I have a heart." And that was the language I spoke to them. And then they said, "Well, you know, we don't suggest for you, you know, you have a boyfriend, but we don't suggest for you to start a sexual life because you're not going to be able to cope with it. And forget about getting married. And of course, never think about having
Negative.
children." never think about having children because you're not going to be able to make it. So this was just this doctor. She was trying to be nice with me because I was an adult lady, and they could speak to me because I was the first time. My mom was not with me with the doctors. So when I came out there, and then my mother didn't really speak very well English, the first thing my mother wanted to ask is, "What did they tell you? Are you going to be able to grow up and to have children and get married?" All these things that mothers care about. And what do you think I said? I said, "Mom, she said I was just fine and I didn't have to worry about anything." I lied.
Oh
And
my
do you
God.
know why did I lie? Because it was for me, they were giving me a death sentence. I was not about to cope with them. I mean, no.
Agree.
And I said, "No, Mom, they said it was okay. I could carry on with my life and my heart would let me know when to stop. But I could just go on." And you know what happened? Well, I got married. I had a little baby. Nobody understood how that I had this wonderful Ana Paula, because I was the first woman alive and pregnant with my heart condition.
Wow.
So I believe, Tamara, that there was something in my heart that all the time I
Yes.
have been listening to this voice, which is, I believe, is Raffle, telling me it's okay. You're going to be okay. Believe, believe. So you have to have hope. There's a God that's taking care of you. My
Yes.
faith, for me, my faith made the whole difference,
Mhm.
because that made me believe that God had another plan from
Yes.
what doctors or from what nurses or everybody said. And for me, believing in life gave me life.
That's
For
beautiful.
me, believing, hoping, and for me, visualizing my life gave me those visions. So
Yes.
I do believe that dreaming and those things that sometimes come that are crazy, if you think and you like them and you think you can have them, you will, if you really believe in them. And what I've learned through my life, Tamara, is that the body is able to change, physically change, when your mind and your heart and you have this belief that things can change. So I
Yes.
have this very strong belief that my body learned how to cope with oxygen and with things, so I was able to grow up till 21 years old, got married, and then have had a 23, have a little baby. She was
Wow.
born 4 pounds. She was very, very small,
Tiny.
very tiny, but she was perfectly healthy. And something that I did, which I believe all these are connections I didn't know I had. But when I was pregnant, I remember talking to her and saying, there's not oxygen inside, but outside you will have lots of it. So just hanging there, and just. And I remember those 9. Of course, I was in bed. Nobody let me go out because It was such a dangerous pregnancy. It's a very high risk pregnancy. So I was lying in bed most of the time, most of the pregnancy. But what I did was read the Bible, talk to her, talk to my angel, and I was most of the time connected to this high frequency that kept me knowing and hoping that things were going to be okay. It was a very, very dangerous condition and situation. So when she was born, what happened is that now my physical body got into a breakdown. Now my heart was really having a hard time, and that's probably one of the most difficult times of my heart condition I've had, because I couldn't take care of my baby. She was 7 months old, and I
Wow.
just couldn't climb the stairs. I was so tired. So I went to the doctor, and they said, "Well, you need a surgery. We
Okay.
don't know if there's going to be a surgery for you. We don't know, but you need to go to the States. Maybe they'll have something," because nobody was alive at my age. It was just so crazy. So
Yes.
when I got to the United States, and the doctors met me, the first thing they said was, "How did you dare have a baby?" And my answer was, "Well, I asked God and he answered." And he said, oh God, this woman must be crazy. But Tamara, I understood that the human part of this doctor, he said, well, you shouldn't even be alive. How are you even here alive and with a baby? So I was in a very serious condition, and they said, we're gonna try this surgery with you. We've never done it in an adult. Usually, people we do this when they're 2 or 3 years old. You're
Yes.
the oldest patient we've ever met, and you look like if you're so good. I mean, you're healthy. You look, and I said, well, I dreamed it, dreamt it. I visualized it. I believed it, and I've had it. Thank God, up to now.
And you got messages that you asked God.
Yes, of course, I got it, and I've been listening. Those are some things that I really recommend people. I think we all receive messages, Tamara, but
I
sometimes
agree.
we just think it's our mind, and they're not. We get so many messages from other places, for spiritual messages, that we need to start listening to. Everybody. It's not just that you and I are special and that we're just different from everybody. It's
Yes.
just that we were able to listen and
Yeah.
to be
Obedience.
sensitive enough that you say this is something else, from this is not only in my mind.
Yes.
So well, that's just before I got my second near death experience. I was there in my hospital. I don't know if you want to. I'm just talking and talking. I don't know if you
No,
want to ask
no,
me something.
no, no, absolutely. Well, so I want to know about this. So when you were this is crazy. I mean, to live as a child, to know that you're going to die, but the fact that inside of you said, "No, I'm not gonna accept that." But you said you were blue earlier, but then you would have moments that you would have lack of oxygen. So you were blue at multiple times because the
Many, many
lack,
times. Many.
yeah, because the lack of oxygen with your heart. So you were able to deliver the baby. That blows my mind.
Well, the thing was this, that she was 8 months and a half. I was pregnant for 8 months and a half, and suddenly I started. How do you say, the moment to deliver the baby?
Mhm.
I was in labor. I was starting to be in labor. So that morning, I remember to wake up, and I started fixing all my things because I was ready to go to the hospital. I didn't even know she was going to be born that day. And then I said, well, I don't know. I'm feeling kind of strange. And my mother got so worried and she said, this is not normal. I mean,
Oh,
because I said last night I was like freezing and I was not feeling okay. So she immediately said there's something wrong with the baby, but she didn't want to tell me. So my husband took me to the doctor, and the doctor said, well, you're starting labor. That's
oh,
what's happening. So, but we don't want you to go into labor. We want to do a C-section because it's going to be so difficult for you to go
oh,
into labor.
okay, I got it.
So I immediately went to the hospital. 20 minutes later, they were doing this C-section. I was just so he said that this was the fastest C-section he's ever made in his life, because 4 minutes later, my daughter was there. It was a
Whoa,
little bitty, small
wow.
little baby. She was crying so hard, but they thought I was gonna die that day because my heart started going crazy, and they just slept me so I wouldn't be so anxious.
Well, do you think you had an NDE then?
Well, I think I had a moment. I just knew that I was talking to people. I could see things, but sometimes you don't identify what's happening. But I woke up and I was in this emergency in the, how do you call it, ICU.
Yes.
I was there with a lot of things around, and I said, "Well, where's my baby?"
Mhm.
And they said, "Well, she's very, very small. She's okay, but we are you okay?" And they just didn't understand how I was alive. And I was there, and I was just kicking. I want to see my baby. So
Mhm.
2 days later, they let me come out, and I was able to meet my little bitty baby. And she was kept in the intensive care also for about 14 days or so. But
Wow.
there's some things that for me they're not coincidences. My
Yeah.
parents, and this is something I want to let you know, I
Yes.
want to tell you about this. I don't know what is it because I haven't really looked a lot about numbers,
Hmm.
but I know numbers have something to do. You
Yes.
know, my parents, they met on the 19th. They started, they got engaged on the 19th, I mean, the day 19th. They got married on the 19th. They had their first child on the 19th. They had their last child on the 19th.
Hmm.
And Ana Paula, their first great granddaughter, was born on the 19th. It was July 19th. So, and then
Yeah.
the first boy, grand boy, was born on the 19th. My sister got married on the 19th. My graduation, I mean, it was so many 19s. I don't know what it meant, but I remember that the first thing when I woke up, I mean, that day I said to my mother, Mom, it's the 19th. It's July 19th.
Well, look at this. 9 plus 1, not with 9 and 1 is 10, which
It's
is
one.
1, which is the sign of God. And let's look at this. Look at this incredibly beautiful woman that she is, this little 4-pound baby. Look at this.
Oh, she's so
So
amazing.
beautiful. And I've met her. She's an incredible person. Incredible,
Oh, thank
intelligent
you,
person.
Tamara.
I mean,
Yes.
what a blessing. This is a gift from God. I mean, God is so good. I tell people this. Look at this. It's evidence of it. Look at you. Look, you were supposed to be dead at what, 7? Look at this. It's amazing.
And you can see through her eyes so much love.
Oh, look
For
at that.
me, she was one of the greatest reasons to keep myself alive. Because when she was 10 months old, I went to this big surgery where I had my second near death experience, I believe. Because maybe I've had many, and I just
I think you've had many. Now, we were talking
yes,
about this pre-show, and look, we're not holding you. We're just having a talk. There's so many spiritual experiences I want to cover too, but I want to go back just for a second in my mind. I want to get this straight. So you had, what was the deal? The water, did you drown or did you lose consciousness that first go round?
I when I came, I was swimming, and
Okay.
I love to go down all the time. I like to be around water.
Me
But
too.
when I came up, I had a very hard time getting out of the water. I just could barely do it, and I think I just fainted or what did I? I
Passed
blacked
out.
out. I passed out.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
was absolutely cold, and I was blue, and there's where I saw Raffle.
Mm.
And I said, well,
Mm.
what are you doing here? I don't want to
Love it,
go.
Raphael, the archangel. Guys, if you want to know, that is so cute. So when you see, I know people are going to ask this. So when you saw Raphael, now we know the
I
archangel,
fail.
which the archangels are not male or female; they're just angels. But
That's right.
how did you perceive the angel? Was it a color? Did it look like a person? I mean, I'm sure people are going to want to know.
It was just like, the light you have on your back, it should be your left.
Oh, my angel.
No, the other one. The
Oh, the person.
no, the angel then. I don't know. You have to, I don't know which side are you looking at.
No,
The one that has
that one.
wings. The one
That
that has wings.
that
Okay.
that one. That one.
Just the light without the wings,
But
just
no
the
wings.
light. No, just
Okay,
the
cool.
light. So I could see, but it was like the figure I have on the other side.
Okay.
So it was probably, it's just about the human
Mm.
figure you have there, because it was light around and it was like black inside. So it's just very similar to that, but it was just moving all the time, and I just thought it was a ghost because I could see light and I could see like a shadow. It's not dark, it's shadow.
How tall would you say?
It's very tall. I I have a connection with horses. And when I was probably around 8 or 9, I was riding a horse, and it happened the same thing. I went all blue because of the air that was so cold,
Wow.
and I could see him riding on my right, and he was a big figure. And we were
Whoa.
both driving, and he was with me. And
He
this is another
Wow.
experience.
That is so okay. So you've got so many cool experiences. Look, here's the thing that oh my God,
Yeah.
that I want to get across. And I was telling Anna that I just interviewed recently Ray Hernandez, who has this book Beyond UFO, and this, where they make the connection with us NDErs, where there's spiritually transformative, there's lucid dreams, there's angels, there's UFOs, there's seeing deceased relatives. But you have so many things. But it sounds like, and what one thing, not to evaluate, just a thought process here, because I'm an NDEr too. I'm feeling that we're like the portal. So every time you turn blue, you open that portal to the other side. So you're just a walking like little God magnet,
Wow.
right? We are the
Well,
portal. We are the portal.
wow.
Yeah, right. And
Well,
so
now that you mention it, it's been so many times when I was young, and because sometimes whenever I was, for example, trying to ride a bike with my friends outside in the block, and I started turning blue because I was just imagine this
yeah.
was the way I spoke at that time. It was, Tamara, I want to. That's the way I spoke because there was no air. I was just lack of oxygen. So I remember when that happened, I went to my bed. I didn't tell anybody I was not feeling well. I said, I'm going to go pee. I'm going to go someplace. And
We
I
know what
went,
that is.
yeah, I went to my bed. I lay down, and I remember I didn't even know what meditation was. And I started meditating at that age. I was very young, and I started breathing so deep. And I said, okay, body, you need to get oxygen again. And I started breathing. I started like calling everybody around to help me. And because I wanted to go out and play.
Mm.
But I remember this time I just wanted to send my mind to set at ease and to slow down a little bit with my thoughts, with my emotions, with my feelings. So then I started breathing and calming down so much, and then I was ready again to go out. I didn't even know what I was doing, but I always did. And I remember talking to my body and to my blood. And I said to my blood, you have to go to your lungs. And then I imagined all the circle where the body, I mean, I was very young and I could see the blood. I even named my blood Lucy. She had a name, Lucy.
Okay, I've never known anyone that, because what like Lucille Ball, the red blood. Oh my gosh, you're too funny.
Well, I just said, okay, Lucy, you have to go to my lungs because, I have, just for people that maybe some doctors can see this, I have transposition of great vessels and one single ventricle. So in my single ventricle, all the blood, oxygenated and not oxygenated, it gets mixed. So there's always blue and red blood mixed. So I imagined like telling Lucy, you have to go to the lungs and get as most red blood as you can so you can go back to my legs and to my hands so they just turn out white again. I mean, pink.
Yes.
So
Wow.
all of this went in my mind when I was just a little girl.
That's amazing. I mean, that people knew to, and it's so many NDErs are either told by their guides or angels how to see either a ball of light inside and to brighten up and to heal, or with the blood, they're actually instructed these things or meditation. So your first, I mean, honestly, you probably had a bunch of multiple little.
I think so, yeah, now that I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I mean, and look, we're still learning, guys. We don't have all the answers, but I think you probably had a lot of little ones. But for sure, we were talking at least two, but I think you had, you can say multiple because of your condition. So when did you finally get your second one? The first one was the pool, and you wake up, and you
Yeah,
kind of.
that's when my daughter was 10 years old, 10 months old. She was a very little baby. And when I had to go to the hospital and they couldn't believe I had a baby. And they were going to try to make this surgery on me that I've never done. So they were just going to make it. They were just like hoping, like they said, that we're not just trying to keep this woman alive, we're also the mother of a baby. So it's just two big responsibilities they had there. So when I went into surgery, it was a very, very complex surgery. It took around 11 hours or so.
Wow.
So I came out and I was alive, but I was so weak. They just didn't know I was going to make it. I was not oxygenating the way they were hoping. And well, so it was a difficult moment there because finally when there was some time that I was much better. So they wanted to take me out of the ICU. And I went to the room with my husband, which I could hardly see because they could only see you 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour at night. So I was just there for a very few hours. And I said, I can't breathe. And he said, well, you just come out of the ICU. What do you mean? And I know there's something wrong. So they immediately, all the doctors came in and they said, your lungs are full of water, and all around your lungs, there's
Pneumonia?
water. So,
Pneumonia?
yeah. No, it was this, how do you call it? Staphylococcus?
Fiber, I don't know, some fluid in your
Staphylo-
lung?
No, this horrible bacteria
Oh,
that you usually never come out of it.
okay.
I have to find the word in English.
Okay.
Staphylococcus. So there was water all around everywhere, and they didn't know it was building so fast, so they had to go back to surgery.
Wow.
So when I was going back to this surgery, I knew, Tamara, that moment, I knew that was it. I knew it. I was ready. So I spoke to my husband. I spoke to my parents. And then while I was going so fast to this surgery room, I remember talking to Raffle, the way I call him.
So cute.
And I said, long time no see. What are you doing here? I know. And I said, I know I'm ready. And if this is the time, it's okay. Please, God, take care of my daughter, take care of my parents and my husband. But mostly, Raffle, can you please tell God that he can leave me here a little bit longer? And, I'm going to take good care of this baby. And I'm going to raise a wonderful human being. I'm going to make her be a wonderful, please, just give me a chance. I was just like negotiating with Raphael,
Yeah, sure.
And I said, can you do that? And I was just asking.
Yes.
And I said, I just want to see my daughter again. I just want to see her again. So I remember when I just went into the surgery room, they did. The last thing I remember thinking it was Ana Paula, because I wanted to see her again. So I went into the surgery, and after some time, I just went into a heart arrest and respiratory arrest. I woke up after that surgery for some hours, and then my body was not answering. So that's where I was intubated, and your hands have to be tied to the bed so you don't take it out.
Yes.
So at that moment, for some reason, I have to tell you this, because for some reason, I should have 2 nurses with me, because I was in such a serious shape. It was very, very serious condition. But one of them decided that she wanted to go see her boyfriend at McDonald's down there. I remember because I remember.
God.
And she said,
Your line's on the line, and she wants to go flirt with someone at McDonald's.
But this was a blessing that she wanted to go out.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had my NDE. Otherwise, there would have been somebody to assist me right away. So she went to the McDonald's, and she told it to the other one. And of course, I couldn't talk, but I was awake. And then the other one said, okay, you're okay, honey? And I said, yeah, just with my head. She said, I'm going to go get a sip of water. So there was nobody in the room for I don't know how many minutes. And suddenly there was a phlegm in my tube, and then I had a respiratory arrest, and immediately a heart arrest. And then just imagine that you're in the room and there's this siren sounding because there's no oxygen getting in, like, woo, woo.
Yeah.
So
come back, nurse.
Yeah, so everybody comes in. It was just like a whole army of doctors and nurses in my room, and I could see everybody, and they were just took the upper part of the tube, putting water and trying to take out the phlegm, and then I just went into a heart arrest, and I just remember everybody trying to hold me because all my arms were just so swollen and sore because trying to just breathe,
Yeah.
So at that moment, I immediately felt how I came out of my body, and all the doctors were working with me, but I was out, and I could see my body on the bed, and all the doctors around trying to do CPR, and everybody trying to bring me back, And I just said, oh, wow, just, you can, I'm okay. I mean, it's just like I was not part of that body anymore, but it was still me. It was just so strange. So I could see
Mhm.
all the doctors working with my body, but I was absolutely free. There was
So no pain.
nothing, no pain anymore. Nothing
Okay.
was hurting. I was free. And I could see, I know a lot of people talk about this tunnel, but what I saw, it was like a tree. And I was going inside. That's why in my book, I
Yeah.
have this tree. And I was like, if I was going inside it, and I was just floating. I could see myself. I knew it was me, but I didn't have a body. I didn't know what was going on, but I
Is
know
this
it
your
was me.
book? So that
That's the
tree?
book. That tree is like if I was going inside it through all these branches. It's like if I could see everything while I was driving inside. It was very strange. And then I saw first, how do you say, a lot of branches while I was going up. But first thing, what first was amazing to me is that I was free and I was just floating in a very harmonious place. It was such a relief. And suddenly my daughter was not a problem. And then my parents,
That's
I mean,
probably not good. Like, she'll be fine.
and she was just, I said, she's gonna be okay. And I knew it. And then my parents, I could see them, they were praying a rosary, things that I
Oh,
couldn't have known. They were praying a rosary. And then I saw my daughter, and she was at an aunt's house. I didn't. She was my aunt Martha. I didn't even know she was with her, and I could see her. And I said, "Oh, Ana Paula. I mean, but she's gonna be okay." I
yes.
knew it. And then I saw my brothers, my brother and my sisters, and then I kept on floating. And there was so much peace in my heart,
Oh,
even though I was close to everybody. But I was like, it's okay if I'm not right there, because I am, even though I'm not physically there. But then there was this big amount of branches, and then I saw all of these little animals, squirrels, rabbits, birds, and everybody was just amazing, all this nature. And I could see all these beautiful,
where
bright
was it?
colors.
Was it in the tree or in somewhere?
I just felt inside, when you
No, it's
try to put
okay.
words into
It's
a,
okay. I'm just trying to understand. It's
no,
okay.
no, yes, but when you try to put words into
Yes.
this experience, it's difficult. But I felt I was going inside the tree like a tunnel. But
Yes.
then I see these branches, and they were just, but this, I think it was branches, but there was a lot of grass, and there was a lot of nature. There was water, and
Mm,
I just know it was like a whole life through
yeah.
my branches.
Yes.
And then I could hear, and it's just like if I could touch them and be so connected to all of them. So I kept on floating. I couldn't control this.
Mm.
I just kept on going up, and then I saw a lot of branches. I mean, it was like another set of things. I think it was branches because I thought it was in a tree. And then I saw these lions and tigers and giraffes and these amazing animals. And there was just so beautiful colors, like if I could touch them. My respect for animals changed so much after that, because it was just like if I was connected and could talk to them. And I was just like, yes, hello, how are you? And this was a lion, and then it was a tiger. And I was just, wow.
Well, you know that you have been prophesied to be like Mrs. Dr. Doolittle. So this
Something like
makes
that.
perfect sense to me. Go ahead.
So I just kept on floating. And then suddenly, well, before that, I felt love, a lot of love from these beings. And then suddenly again, Tamara, I could see again all like if 360 degrees. I could see everything at the same time. And I could again see my daughter.
Mm.
I saw myself over there on the table.
Well, how'd you feel
Doctors,
about that? Did you have an opinion about that, or were you indifferent?
I was indifferent. I said, well, let them, they're having a hard time with it, but just you can stay there. I'm okay. I'm going to tell you what happened when I came back. But
Mm.
in that moment, I didn't have an opinion. I just knew that I was in a wonderful place, and I wanted to go on being there. So I kept on floating, and then I saw a lot of small children, beautiful, and they were just running and laughing, and I could see a lot of grass and water and all of this beautiful nature. That's why I thought it was like branches, because I was going through a tunnel and then I saw these beautiful things.
Mm.
So I kept on floating, and they just saw beautiful young people like you and me, and a lot of people all around. And I just knew there was a lot of love around them. And for a moment, I felt like I nobody had really died back then, other than my great grandmother. But other than that, everybody in my family was alive. But it was like if I had known everybody there. It was like it was family. And it was
Got
like, wow, all these people welcoming me. And I just felt, I'm feeling that sensation now.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
amazing.
feeling it.
Oh,
Yeah, because I
I'm
felt
feeling
like
it.
I knew them, but I didn't know them, but I felt like I knew them,
But
right?
all of this embracing light I was starting to feel, it was just like a lot of love. So I kept on floating, and there's a moment in which I thought I saw my great grandmother. I didn't see her since I was 3 years old.
Mm.
So the only thing I knew is that this love I felt around this. But what I think, Tamara, because it's been very difficult for me to describe peace,
Mhm.
what all of what peace means, and
Yes.
all of what this sensation means. But there was like, if at all of these levels, for me it was like wisdom. Like all these older people were like wiser people. It was just like,
Mm.
it was not that they were old, but that they were I don't know, old souls. You
Yes.
know, it was like it was a feeling that it was, because I never saw anybody in wheelchairs or things like we see
Oh,
on
yeah.
Earth, nothing like that. But I knew there
Yeah.
were older people, so maybe it was souls, that they
Mm.
were very wisdom souls, were wise souls.
Yes.
I don't know, but I could just feel the love these people could give me, just like welcoming me. And I was just so thrilled. I said, wow, this is a great place to be. And then I kept on floating, and that's why my book, the cover is yellow, because I saw up there, this deep yellow is what I saw. And I was just like a circle, big circle, and I was just floating to get into that circle, like the size of this tree. And I couldn't control myself. I just went up floating. So when I got in there, just imagine that you're getting in through the hole, and suddenly I stopped at my hips. I just stopped there. But when I got in that space, there is what this amazing light. It just covered me everywhere, and it was just as if I got all embraced by it. And this is a sensation I start feeling, like if it was an electroshock, is wow, but it didn't hurt at all. It was just, I felt a lot of love, and I can describe a little bit, because you really don't have the words to describe this. But
Okay.
it's like if you open the door, and there's this big amount of a lot of like a hurricane in there, and then you just go like, oh, because you get feel of it. And I was extasiada, exhausted. I mean, I don't know the words in English.
Excited, ecstatic, ecstasy.
Ecstasy, a lot of ecstasy, but what I really felt, it was like a big love embrace. I
Mhm.
felt so embraced by. This is a love I have never felt again. It was just this kind of love that you could just. The only thing you want is to go back and feel that love again. It was like unconditional love. That's the name.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
and I didn't see anything. I just saw this light, and I was part of this light. And then I just felt a hand on my head, and this beautiful voice that I can still hear it in my mind and in my soul, saying, it's okay, stay calm. You have to go back and do everything I've told you. Go with peace. It's okay. Go with peace. Stay calm. You have to go back and do everything I've told you. And I was just like, what do you mean by everything? I mean, I just wanted to
Okay.
talk to him and be, trying to I want to go back. Let's go on talking. And then immediately that moment, I came back so fast. And I came back into my body. And I could feel the pain again. And the first thing, that's where when I had an opinion about this, I said, those,
This sucks.
no, but it was something very special because I was so angry because I said in my mind, doctors, you're so selfish. Why do you want to wake me up? I don't want to wake up because I thought I was dreaming.
Oh, you didn't know.
I didn't know I was dying. I didn't know I was.
You were dead.
No, I didn't know I was dead because it was many minutes. Well, they said that it took around 30 minutes for them trying to bring me back, and I reacted, and then I went back, and it was a long time. They just thought it had really affected my
So you
my
were
head.
dead at least 30 minutes.
At least they just worked out with me for around an hour the whole time. But at least 30 minutes, it was just for a long time, there was no oxygen anywhere in my body.
Okay, so let me ask you this. On the other side, whatever this heavenly realm that's really awesome, full of love, a lot of great nature, a lot of happy people, full of love, great colors. I understand.
Yes,
I've been there. I understand. I know you get a little perturbed. I'm back. But how long do you think you were ever there? That's the question, because it's not the same, right? Do you have a thought about that?
Yes, I thought it was like forever. I mean,
A long time, right? It was not 30 minutes.
No,
It
no,
could have
no.
been, what,
I
like a
felt,
long time.
if we could stop to talk about each of these stages, it could take hours in each one. Each of these little animals, and then more animals, and then children. It could take hours for me to talk about every detail I saw. I recall everything so perfectly in my mind. People, all of these beautiful sceneries. But yes, I felt that it was for a long time. That's why I thought doctors were so selfish, because I said, you want me awake. I don't want to be awake. I just want to go on sleeping. And then the amazing thing was this, that doctor said, I perfectly heard them then when I said, she's back. And then they were and I could hear my heart, beep, 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 beep. I could hear that. And then they were shouting again, oh no, she's living again. And then again, the electroshocks and everything. And then I went on a heart arrest again. So it was on and off for a long time. But I remember them shouting, she's gone, she's gone, she's gone. And all these things, it was just so crazy. But I do remember that it took me a long time when I was back, trying to accept I was back and saying, okay, I need to understand that I was someplace, I don't know where, but I don't think I'm very happy I'm back, but I need to understand that I am. Well, I was not happy.
Hey, that's very good English, because I totally understood that. A lot of near-death experience. Look, we're not promoting going early, suicide, or it doesn't work, because you got to come back and finish. Okay, so don't do that. But the good upside of that is that it's a beautiful place full of love waiting for us. The bad side is you come back and you have good people, nice people, bad people. It's a little bit, you don't have that abundant love, but that's part of, I think, our mission is to bring that love here and let people know it's available. And we need to be kind to one another and love each other more. And just like immediately with you, I just felt like, my God, I love you. The first time, like I didn't even know you. You must have thought I was a crazy person. But I was I love this woman so much. It's not because you had an NDE. That just happened to be
No, we didn't. We've never met each other that day. And I remember saying, oh, she's such a wonderful woman. Whenever we started with this show.
What a lovely woman.
And you know what happened is that I had after effects over this. I just didn't understand at the beginning. But I remember that at that moment, I started asking the nurses that I needed to write. And then I asked them, what happened? Where was I? So I was just, it took a time for me to understand where I had been. But after this, I mean, to make the long story short, I started noticing that I could, everything, and there was a lot of dreams I had that then happened, and information that I didn't know about people that had passed. And then the first years after this, it was just scary because I heard like my friend's father that had passed talk to me and telling me messages, different messages. And then another friend that just, she came to me and asked me to go with her, that there were wonderful plans we had to do, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly I said, no, but you're okay. And then I saw her where she was leaving. And next day I found out she had died that night. It's been like a lot of communication. I can feel like when people are struggling, what's happening, I feel things. And mostly in my dreams, I have such messages with my dreams. I've had hundreds of them, and I started writing them.
You
Because
should.
at the beginning, I didn't even want to share them. For example, talking to my family about this was so difficult. Nevertheless, talking about my dreams. So it was just like if I were so different, turning crazy because of all of this information I was getting. I was getting a lot of information.
Right, right.
And
You
of
didn't
course,
understand it. Yeah.
no, I didn't understand it. And of course, what happened to me, Tamara, is that I changed absolutely. I mean, I saw life in a very different way when I was young. I always felt like out of place. But when I came back, it was so difficult to connect to the same people again like I was before.
Explain
Uh,
that.
because I just couldn't communicate with my husband the way I did. For me, like for example, if somebody told me that they needed help, somebody knocked on my door in Mexico. It's often that people come and ask for help.
Mm.
And if I had 500 pesos or like $50 in my wallet, I would just send them out and give it to him. And my husband immediately said, "What are you doing? Why are you giving that so much?" No, 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 no. And then we got into such big arguments about the way I said we saw things, and I said, "But some more money is gonna come back.
Yeah, there's
Don't
more out
worry about
there.
the money."
It's going to
So
come.
it was very difficult for me to speak to my husband about it. I mean, he understood in a way, and we talked about this, but we just couldn't communicate the same way. Again, it was very difficult. One of the things that happened is that I was able to talk about all of this with my daughter as if she was my sister, and she understood everything. And it
Oh my
was,
God, let's look at her again. She's adorable. No, I've talked to her a few times. She's awesome. You look like sisters.
yes, we do. She's just beautiful.
She's a bright, bright
So
light.
I started to feel things. It was difficult to come back and not being able to talk to anybody about this.
Oh
I
God.
just couldn't relate. I talked to priests, to doctors,
What happened?
to
Let's hold up. When you talked to the priest, what happened?
well, when I spoke to him about all of this story that I just told you, all of this wonderful experience, the first thing he said, it is a beautiful experience, but just keep it to yourself because it's a gift God gave you. And I said, okay, I will keep it to myself. And then I went to a pastor. I went to a psychologist. I went to a psychiatrist,
And
trying to
what they
somebody
say?
listen.
What they
The
say?
pastor said, well, this is a message from God that you should keep on studying his word and it was not like you were someplace else. It was very nice. Everybody was nice, but they didn't really
They didn't know.
agree with me that I was someplace else. And I just shut myself because with the psychiatrist, he said, well, this happens when you're under a lot of stress and you have no oxygen. So you believe that you went through a lot of things that you really didn't go through.
Okay, I am
So
so sorry to hear that you went through that. I'm so sorry.
and many of the doctors just said, well, it's just your imagination.
I'm even more sorry. I have to say this.
And it took
Uh,
years until I decided to write my book.
this has happened to other near-death experiencers that have been on. I won't go into the names right now, and that they were not listened to at all and validated, which is why you're connected to other NDErs and spiritual awakenings and all that, which has many other NDErs. And that's why we make sure that at the Seeking Heaven channel, that it's a safe platform for people to communicate their experiences and have a dialogue and not bring in judgment-based stuff, because whether you're an atheist or very religious, it changes you. Doesn't matter where you where you started, or maybe didn't have much of a belief about anything. When you have these things, they're very real.
Yes.
So the gifts, you're very empathic. Now you're feeling people's things. Now you're getting intuitive knowing. Now you're waking up knowing these things about people. Not even the NDE. That probably was hard to sort out.
For who?
For you. I mean, because you know stuff now.
No, and a lot of things I just knew. For example, when I wake up, and I remember one of the things that I said. I told my daughter, these are strange things that I told my daughter. I saw my dog, that she was how do you say that, she was not walking well. She had a hip problem, and I woke up with that idea, and she said, "Oh, well, that's strange." Well, later that afternoon, my dog started walking like that.
Yes.
And we had to take her to the doctor, and there was something wrong with her. But it was just like, if sometimes I just see things before they happen. I've seen friends pregnant, married, divorcing before they even know it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it's not that like for many weeks before, but I feel it before the time it's happening. I felt people, and I've at the beginning, I was just very frightened because I just saw a lot of people that died, and I just dreamt with them alive and given me very clear messages to their family. And for example, one of them was about the will. Mm-hmm. The father left a will, and I hardly knew this man, but I knew my friend. So he said, okay, he was a drunk addict, So I remember I saw him like in a bar, and then we were sitting there, and he said, okay, please, let's have some water, because this is what we're having, water, not wine or anything. And I said, okay. I mean, it was strange. So we started talking, and then he said, because this is the way I can give you the message, with water. We're not going to drink anything else but water.
Okay, can I stop just right there? You're talking, let me just clarify this. You're talking to a spirit person.
Yes.
In a bar. I'm sure it's classy, but do you know that any kind of meditation you do with spirit, because even though I'm seeing spirit at 3 years old, talking to them, I've trained a lot, 8 years in evidential medium, very extensively. It's all meditations. Everything was water. When I have a sitter or myself, I drink tons of water. Water was the conduit to the spirit world. Yeah. Water is the conduit to the spirit world. That is crazy that the spirit person validated that.
Wow. Well, yes, he told me we need to, and he said, let's ask for water. So we both had water. And then he said, you need to tell my children that the will is exactly as I left it. I was not mistaken. There was nothing wrong. And this is exactly the way I want it. Please let them know. And I said, okay, but how am I going to tell them that? Just please help me out with that. So we just embraced, and then a few days later, I started writing a WhatsApp or a message to my friend. I said, I just don't know how to say this, but I had a dream about this. So I wrote it all. And then she called me crying, and she said, we have been for weeks struggling about the will. For weeks. Because my brother, one of the brothers, say, this is not what my father meant. And then you just telling me, yes, this is what he meant.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it is the way
he heard all that.
Yes.
You live in my world, Anna. That's my world. You would be surprised how many times, seriously, guys, watching this story with Anna, it comes up with wills all the time. There was a lady said, I'm really worried what to do. And her dad came through. I'm like, why would they care? And you know what I think it is? I'm just guessing. the spirit people is they want to be in peace and rest. They want it. They have things they're doing over there. They don't want to be stuck with people bickering about who gets the grandfather clock. And so this one woman contacted me, a living person, and the father came through like 2 hours in detail. Who gets what? Somebody's going to break into this house with the furniture in it that was his. Would you please get rid of it? And guess what? They did.
It
And he
happened.
told her about 3 days, and they did. He says, "I told you to get rid of this stuff," and told the son, "You have two sons. They're going to work. Give them the car. Let them work on the car." The whole
Wow.
bit. You know why? Because they want to go on. They want to be set free.
I think that was it, because they were this family, they were getting so much separated from each other
That
because
too.
of this fighting. So
Yeah.
she read this to the family.
Yeah. What happened?
They immediately accepted. They said, well,
Wow.
no, it was amazing. And so all these messages come through my dreams.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
usually I do believe, it took me a long while, but I do believe that part of my job here is to listen. And you listen through dreams, through experiences, through people, through you, through different, through books. But we need to listen, because there's always so many beautiful messages and people need to hear them. So I would have been very selfish to just keep everything to myself because of being afraid, because
Yeah.
it was easier to be afraid that people could judge me. And there was a moment that I said, I don't care. I know this is real. I need to tell you about this. And from
Yeah.
then on, there's a lot of, for example, I told one of my friends, I dreamt that your daughter was pregnant. She was not even married. And the mother didn't even know. And the daughter was pregnant. And she
Really?
said, but I told her this whole dream. And I said, and I know you're going to be struggling with the name, but you should put her last name, not the father's, because the father's not going to be around. And I said, this is what I dreamt. But of course, your daughter is not in that situation. Well, of course she was.
Wow.
These are crazy things, Tamara.
No. Well, you know what it is? Uh, you can't,
They're
we're
real things,
connected.
but
They're real things, but they
yes,
can't, the thing is,
it's
our
I'm
loved ones
connected.
and spirit, we're all connected. That's exactly right. And when you experience that universal with the animals and the tree and and the nature, and then the oneness of the love, we're all
Everything.
connected, and that's what we miss. We miss that love connection, and we don't like this separation here. We want to be brothers and sisters. We want to love each other, and we need to stop the bickering. So the fact that you had the boldness and you just did it. Sometimes in life, what is the definition of courage? Being afraid but doing it anyway. You did it anyway, and it helped with the will. It helped with this woman. And there's certain things that our spirit family over there, or the heaven realm, they can't tell us we have to go through, but sometimes they can. Like the daughter, obviously that was so close to happening, that there was a comfort there that about this. So I think a lot of people, you don't have to have an NDE. You're connected to source
No.
just by the fact you're a spiritual being. You just are. And I think that so many
And
people doubt the messages.
for example, praying, meditation, that's what starts connecting. Sometimes
Mhm.
mostly when you're a Catholic, you feel like praying is like you're just repeating everything, and
Mhm.
it's much more than that. I mean, you can do your own prayers, your own meditations, but for me, this is a way to uh, peace your mind and fill your heart with the love of beautiful words, whatever the way you want to pray. But for me, that's something that has been also lost. That praying is so useful. The power of prayer, it's absolutely amazing.
Amen, sister. I
And
love it. I don't know about you, but how I start out, I mean, everybody's personal, everybody's different. Sometimes I just need a quiet walk, and I have this, it's like a swing, and it's a pretty day. It's been very hot lately, too hot. But if it's a nice day, then I just want to sit there and be still. Other times I want to be a state of gratitude. And I I'm not a great singer, but to sing or to put on, I have a couple songs I
music,
like this
yeah,
worship music, but it's more softer and sweeter than that. It's not really, I wouldn't say churchy, but it's very soft and sweet and beautiful. But it could be a melody. It doesn't have to be words, and I just sit in a state of gratitude and thankfulness. And then I
I
just
do
try to
that too.
breathe in divine love. And then other times I just sit and talk and have a talk with Jesus and just talk to him. Doesn't really matter how you do it. It's your choice how you get to do this. You get to pick how you communicate with God. But how do
No,
you,
but
how do
what I
you
mean
do
with
it?
this, that's what I mean with this is that if you really want to get connected with this spiritual world, there's a way. I mean, there's no, you don't have to go through what you and I have
No,
gone.
you don't.
It's not like you were born special. It's just that we were able, not able. We decided to listen, and we decided to put ourselves here. I do a lot of meditations in the morning and at nights.
Hmm.
During the day, this is something that has been with me since I was a child. Like sometimes when I'm so anxious, I just stop. I say, okay, wait, and I breathe. What are you feeling, Ana Cecilia? I talk to myself a lot, a lot. Me are very good friends, you know. Yeah,
Well,
because
it's very cute.
because this is the way that you can hear your inner heart, your
Oh,
inner soul.
you
This is
honor
the
your
only way.
soul. How
This is the
beautiful.
only way. So say, okay, what are you feeling now? I do a lot of that.
I do
Is
that
it
too.
is it okay what you're doing? What do you feel? And I honor what I feel too. Because
Yes.
if I'm anxious, if I'm sad, if I'm
Yes.
angry, okay, this is the way I'm feeling, and it's okay. I just want to move on from this. And I just don't go like disrespecting myself, saying that I'm so silly. And no, 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 no. For me, one of the biggest things is that every morning when I wake up, Tamara, every morning, I thank God for my life. I thank God for being alive, because just the fact of waking up and saying, "Oh, I'm still sleepy," it's a blessing.
I do
Being
that.
able to open your eyes, and that starts the day so different.
Well, here's the thing. If you've been dead, dead, and I was dead, dead,
That.
you were dead 30 minutes. They brought me, I came in and one of them 15 minutes dead on arrival, and they were trying to, I was dead on and off for almost 2 hours, and then I flatlined, and then they couldn't believe I was breathing. They put the sheet over me. So I am grateful that I am able to be of service, and
Yes.
I stand humbled, because when God wants to take you home, I don't care how healthy you are either. It's time to go. So, and also, if you're very ill like you, God is a resurrective God. He can completely restore you. I believe this.
And the amazing thing about this, Tamara, is that uh, doctors still don't believe I look as healthy as I look.
Oh, you're
But
look at you. Your skin is beautiful.
one of the things they've asked me, and what is the message that, I mean, God or the angel or your guide told you? Go in peace and do everything I've told you. And
Yes.
one of the things I'm absolutely sure is that whenever I die, I want to be very alive. You know what I mean? That whenever that's one of the biggest messages, that I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of being alive without feeling alive.
Wow. That's
Because sometimes you're just alive and you're just breathing, but you're not really alive. Being alive for me is this: helping others, making yourself useful for. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people that need to hear this. What you're saying, and
what you're saying.
you're putting a beautiful channel for all of us to be sharing with you. This is for me part of everybody's message. Don't keep yourself quiet. Talk about it. We need to talk about the message that we all have inside. And
Yes.
this is a wonderful place to be sharing it with. I
Well,
really, I really appreciate that
powerful.
you are part of my plan, you know? You didn't
Of
even know,
course.
but you are part of my plan
Oh,
too.
you have a powerful magnet. I was drawn right in.
Thank you.
Because I ditto, sister. I feel the same way. And what people don't understand, we need to stop the labeling of things ourselves, not other people. Let's work on us. Because if we go, oh, I'm from here, I'm a female, I'm this and that. No, we're so much more. We're all
Yes, we're
part.
so much more.
We're so much more. And I don't even now. I don't. I talk to people all over the world. I don't even think about distance because there really isn't any. And we've all known each other. There's no way we had not known each other. And what the message that you gave, I love that we all have a message within us that we came here for. And it's usually very simple. And I mean, I love yours talking about focusing and appreciating on the breath. I do that too because one of mine I died. It was the big one was a pneumonia. Couldn't breathe. You can't breathe with pneumonia. My lungs collapse. So the breath,
No, when you
life is just precious.
yes, and when you have been a patient, that what you need is oxygen, and what you need is to breathe. It's my message is really we should really value the beautiful possibility to breathe there and to feel alive. That's why I had such a hard time when I saw people smoking. It was for me like, oh, but you need that oxygen. Why are you putting that into your lungs? It was so difficult for me because when you're young, everybody wants you to smoke and everybody wants you to all those. And I just said, I just can't do that.
That's a good point because that's self-destructive. But I got to be honest. Every single spirit person I've ever talked to that was a smoker that died of smoking never apologizes. They love it. I mean, I'm just going to be, hey, whoever
it's because it's not,
listening, they may disagree, but all of the ones that they're like, yeah, I did it. They really like it.
And you know something, Tamara, I don't think there's something right or wrong. It was the value I gave to the air and to the oxygen on Earth. Was for me like, don't take it away, but because I needed it when I was young.
Yes.
So it's just the way, and for me, it was the big message was like, because I could never judge someone that smokes. My father has smoked. Well, my father stopped smoking the moment he knew I had a heart condition, and he's never smoked again.
God bless him.
It's
a hard habit to quit, and I know that people that do really love it.
I would never judge anybody for that.
No, I respect that. So when they go, no, I did it's my fault. They're like totally take full responsibility, and they're kind of happy. Like, yep, well, it happened. It was a choice. So we have choices. That's all.
That's
and,
right.
and look, what is it? None of us are free of being perfect in any way. You know what my thing? I am a shoeaholic. I absolutely have more shoes than Amelia DeMarcus, whatever her name is. Mm-hmm. I literally have, and they're really nice. I don't know why. I love this. That's a flaw. I'm flawed. I am flawed. Do I smoke? No, my crack is shoes. I love it, and cowboy boots.
Wow, I love that.
We're not perfect, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
We're not perfect. We all have something. Or, you could be the crazy coupon lady. You got all these coupons, whatever your thing is.
And that's why one of the beautiful things about what I've learned is to love yourself the way you are.
Yeah.
I absolutely love myself the way I am without ever criticizing me or anybody. And that's the best way to love me. Then I'm able to love you. If you don't love yourself the way you are, even with the shoes or the boots or the smoking or whatever.
Yeah, I laugh.
That doesn't make
we're all different. Yeah. It's okay. We're just having a life experience. And I love what Jesus told me once. He said, honor, and he was making a joke of the movie with Clint Eastwood. He honor everything in you, the good, bad, and the ugly. And he said, because it makes you who you are. And so, so that's everything. You're amazing. We're going to have you back in the live chat. Now, let me tell everybody, we're not going to go into it tonight. We're going to have Anna back so many times, it's not even going to be funny. But the live chat, we're going to get into this whole horse therapy, how I said I met you with SA. I did, but we didn't really start talking until I got into this weird messages. They're not weird.
I have to tell everybody this, and this is a very short thing.
Okay.
I was just after my second heart surgery. I had I've got several, but this was just 2 months ago, and I was not getting well. I was having a very hard time, and then Tamara sent a message. Have you ever heard about horse therapy? And I said, no, never. So why don't you look for that? And then I said, well, that's interesting, but I don't know where. Well, exactly that day, a friend of mine that was going to was coming to my house because we were renting a small place. She said, I said, when can you come? And she said, I cannot go today because I'm going to a horse therapy. And I said, what? Please tell me where. So there's where my story started, because Tamara said that. And that day I got the place where to go. And it was
Oh
amazing.
my God. And the story, and we have pictures of it and videos. It is so
I'm going to
soulful.
go over that.
And it
But
is
what I
amazing.
mean is, this connection is amazing, Tamara. You
Oh,
told me right the day when my friend was there. So it's
well,
not
God's
coincidence.
timing is perfect. But then he also said Jesus came through for you and said that you're going to have this surgery. It's going to be a young guy. He's really smart. He's going to be, Jesus is doing the surgery, and you and
And
this is
that's
the
the way it
last,
was.
this is the last surgery that you'll ever have, because I will heal you whole. And the healer is all, the healed is also a healer. And so I got the chills right now. Bam, as the angels around. But and so
Amen.
I felt very like I had to tell you, like I didn't really know you all, and I gave you this download, and I
It
feel
was amazing. It
honored.
was amazing.
Oh
So, I mean,
God.
I'm telling you all this because you really need to listen to Tamara, because she really knows what she's doing. And that day
Thank
for
you.
me was like, wow, horse therapy, what's that? And then that day, my friend tells me. So I
Crazy.
think, I mean, I also have to thank you and tell you that you really are doing a wonderful job. And everybody that's listening, really listen to her,
Oh,
listen to everything she's done.
oh,
She's just an amazing woman that God has sent us to learn and to nourish from her.
God bless you. Well, I just want to support people on their journey and let them know it's okay. Just be you. You can't be wrong in being
Yes.
you. And I am amazed and blown away. Seriously, there's a whole story that goes on from here. This is just the tip of the iceberg, but I am going to tease them with showing this one lovely picture of you. Is that adorable?
Oh,
Aren't you cute? You're
there
cute.
it's me with my horse.
Look at you, how cute you are. Okay, we're not going to tell you anymore, because we're going to do a whole thing on horse
Great.
therapy and how you're turning into a healer and all of this thing and how amazing this ranch is and all the magic that started happening and your healing and this with the second surgery and all the spiritual experiences. And then we're going to also have one or two surprise guests on this show without the live chat. We may have go
It's
a
going to
little
be
bit
amazing.
longer on this live chat because it's intense. It is cool. So I just thank you from all my heart. I can't wait to see all the things that you're going to do. God's so good. You know how he put us together? God is great. You know,
That's amazing.
you're amazing. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you. You are too.
Anna.
Thank you
And
for inviting me and for having me here. It's been wonderful. Thank
of
you so
course,
much.
it's my honor completely. Thank you so much. Much
Thank
love
you.
to you.
Much love to you too.